Keep rolling.
I didn't know that we were trying to do no cuts.
I just feel like that's the style.
Okay, got it.
Oh, girl defined, always doing what everybody else is doing. What is up, you heathens and demons, you sinners and saints, you beautiful, blasphemous people? Welcome back to A Raging Atheist. I'm your boy Nakasuchi, and today we're looking at Girl Defined. But first, want to shout out my Patreon. You guys are the shit. You can see every video I put on YouTube before it goes on YouTube for just $1 a month. You can also get behind the scenes stuff with my daughter for just $1 a month. If you'd like to become a patron, if you'd like to help this channel grow, link is in the description below. Alright, so after my last video, I found out, that Kristen had a miscarriage, and I felt kind of bad. So I haven't done a Girl Defined video in a while. I didn't want to pick on them as they're going through some hard times. I felt pretty bad about one of the comments I made in particular, out of ignorance because I didn't know what she was going through. And before I start giving them a hard time today, I want to really send out condolences because that's some really hard stuff to go through, and hopefully she's doing okay. Alright, so now that I got the serious stuff out of the way, Bethany has a list of questions you should ask somebody if you're in a romantic relationship. And it's not just any list. It's a list of 136 questions.
Okay, if you are familiar with Girl Defined at all, you've probably heard me talk about this list of questions, 136 questions to ask in a relationship or in a romantic relationship. This is not something you had access to back in the day.
Okay, we had questions though.
You had questions.
It wasn't
okay.
this list.
So
136 questions. What the fuck? And I really like the little dig there at the end towards Kristen, like, hey, you old ass didn't have these questions because you old. A little dig there, and Kristen's gonna pick up on it, trust me.
So the reason I actually compiled this list of questions, and the reason that I compiled this is because previously, like before Dave, I had been, specifically in one romantic relationship I'm thinking of, I assumed me and this guy were on the same page about a lot of things. And so I just assumed we didn't need to talk about like certain subjects. We didn't need to talk about certain convictions, lifestyles, choices, the future. We talked about a lot, but I just avoided certain topics because I was like, oh, of course we're on the same page. Of course we wouldn't need to talk about this. Yeah, and that relationship kind of went down in a small crash and burn fire. I don't know. It didn't end well.
So I actually think it's like a really good idea to ask as many questions, to be as open as you can be with a new romantic partner, especially if you're considering having a long-term relationship or a marriage someday. I think that is vital. So I'm not gonna, knock them for asking questions of a spouse or somebody that you want to become your spouse. I think that's necessary, and we need to be more open with each other. But I do have issues with trying to find somebody that is a clone of yourself, that has the same exact ideology, that has the same exact beliefs, that has the same exact Christianity, which I think we're going to find out this list is going to boil down to. And I'm just saying that me, as a dude, has a pretty big problem with you having a book of a list that you're gonna pull out on me and expect me to go through this with you. I think that asking these questions should take time. It should take time to get to know someone, and these questions should come up naturally. I don't actually advocate for rushing into a sexual relationship. I think that you should wait, get to know somebody, and that should take time, and that should happen naturally. You shouldn't force it. And if I saw a woman that was just coming out with a book full of questions for me, well, that's going to pose a lot of red flags, and I'm going to immediately think, like, what am I getting myself into here?
And so when Dave came around, I was like, I'm not making that same mistake, even though I assumed, again, I assumed Dave and I were on the same page. I assumed, we probably believe the same thing about this. I didn't want to assume, and so I actually thought of a lot of these questions and then went to a few other resources and grabbed some questions and created this list. And Dave and I actually worked through the entire list before we got engaged.
136.
We went through 136, and it was awesome. And I'm telling you, it's like not every question was relevant to us, or some of them we went by like, no, yes, super fast. But there were certain questions that we really camped out on or we sought advice on. And I'm telling you, it was so helpful to just know, like, the peace of mind of knowing at least we've talked about this.
Yeah.
At least we've confronted this subject.
Again, I think that this is good and bad. Again, I don't like the whole list thing, and I definitely don't like trying to find somebody that's going to conform to your reality, not challenge you, but only fit what you think that you know, not challenge you to know more. I'm not interested in that personally. To each their own, whatever. I think I do have an issue with Bethany trying to offer her list based upon her life, her personal experiences, her perceptions, her Christianity, offering that list to young women as something that maybe they should use as a resource guide. Maybe offer it as like an outline on how to do their own. If they were like promoting it like that, I probably wouldn't have as big of a problem with it as I do. But the fact that Bethany is promoting this list that would imply to her as some kind of resource for young women before they get married, I think I take issue with that.
Were there any questions that y'all had major disagreements on?
Oh, and not it necessarily.
Okay.
I think, like, when it comes to the topics of like family planning or contraception or whatever, we went and did a bunch of research on that, and like we didn't.
It worked out.
It worked out. But he hadn't like thought tons and tons about it, and so that
So it's kind of like,
one,
I hadn't really thought about this.
we did a bunch of research on it and stuff. So that was the helpful
Yeah.
part. It's like, rather than like getting married and being like, oh snap, we haven't thought about this.
Right.
What should we do? And then one person's like, I very strongly want
Right.
this. It's like,
I want no kids. I want 10 kids.
Yeah.
It's going to be a problem.
Again, I think that's an important issue that you should talk about, especially if you're considering marriage with somebody. If I don't want to have kids and you do, that's something important to talk about. But that's also something that I think can be compromised on. Primarily, it would be the woman that would have to make that ultimate decision if she wants to have a pregnancy at all. And if you as a man, as I posted in previous conversations, don't like that, well, then maybe it's time to look for a different woman that wants to have children. So I do think that these questions are important. But I'm really interested in the outline of these questions, how it's sectioned, how it's designed, what you're really interested in. And it should come as no surprise. I mean, they are interested in a certain type of Christian boy, a man that's going to be a certain type of Christian. So of course, these questions are going to be designed for that type of man.
Yeah.
So,
one thing I love about this list is that it's broken up into categories. So like spiritual life, personal relationships, personal habits and perspectives, moral standards, marital roles. So it's not random, like 136 questions where you're just like, I don't know what's going to happen. You can work through even the categories, which is really helpful. Zach and I didn't have this list, but we had a list. We
I
worked through
remember that.
questions too.
See, yeah, Kristen's a little salty about that. A little salty. Didn't really like that little jab about her age. But we see here how Bethany structured this list of questions. It's based to find the right type of Christian man. And it's asking some Christian questions about morality. Like, do you get your morality for God? Do you walk in Jesus' footsteps? Do you do this? Do you do that? Do you hate gay people? Do you not hate gay people? It depends on what type of Christian you are. Is going to depend on how you answer some of those questions. And I'm not sure where they fall on some of these answers. I think we can guess that they've heavily implied that they disapprove heavily of homosexuality because of their religion. So if you're a Christian that actually doesn't see a problem with that, you're probably not husband material for the girls of Girl Defined. And they snuck in my favorite one there at the last, the marriage roles, right? So that's an important question. And it's only an important question if you value biblical marriage roles. The woman should be the woman and the man should be the man and the man should work and the woman should stay at home. All that bullshit that thankfully society is getting rid of. But that's important to the girls of Girl Defined, which is fine. Have what's important to you. What I take issue with is they're promoting this now to their young teeny bopper fan base because it's young girls that are watching Girl Defined. They're promoting this to them. They are using their religious influence with this YouTube channel to take possibly more moderate, young, impressionable women into a more fundamental version of Christianity.
Because some people, as we've shared this, are like, well, that's a lot. Like, that seems like a lot. Is that overkill? Is that too much? And, you know, maybe. But here's the thing. Most relationships, and you've seen this, I've seen this in my own life, in relationships we've been in the past, is most relationships start out where two people are attracted, they like each other, they get really infatuated. They've got that fire. They get really attracted, really infatuated, and then you just want the relationship to work because you like this person so much that you start to not want to ask some of the hard questions. Am I right? Like, you want to avoid some controversial questions because you're like, ooh, I really like this person. I really want this relationship to last. I really want it to work out. And if we talk about our moral standards, that could cause some issues. So we're just going to avoid it. We're not going to go there. And then the relationship progresses. These things will come out. That's the thing. They will come out sooner or later.
Again, I think that they should come out, and I think that you should be open to a conversation and not just be looking for somebody that's going to have the same exact answers that you do to them. I want to be challenged by anybody that's going to be with me. I don't want you to placate to me. I don't want you to succumb to me. I don't want you to not challenge me if I'm wrong. You know, I don't even want you to have the same exact political leanings as me. How could we ever have good, healthy arguments if we're exactly the same on everything? How can we have a dialogue going back and forth if we think the same exact things? That would seem very boring to me. And yet, of course, Christianity, these religions have to promote that because that's the only way you're going to build your ranks in an increasing secular world. You teach it to your children so your children grow up with it, and hopefully they don't find that inner skeptic and start asking questions. And I don't really know why this bothers me so much. Again, like if this got through Bethany through her engagement and she has a great husband now, more power to her. I commend her for that. It is simply that they are pushing this on their fan base as some viable resource that they could use in looking for a husband. And I take major issue with that. As always, I'm your boy Nakasuchi. This is The Raging Atheist. If you like my videos, hit the thumbs up, subscribe, share me on your social media, comment in the comment section below. Hit that bell so you're notified every single time I make a new video and every single time I have a new live stream. I'll see you soon.